With so much drama in the AEW, it's kind of hard being Mr. Tony Khan, but he's doing his best, trying to hold it together as his entire house falls down around him, or at least that's what the internet would have you think about All Elite Wrestling, the once mighty challenger brand, the strong number 2 that came in to give an alternative to Vince McMahon's bullshit fueled 3-hour nightmare of a fucking marathon to get through, an embarrassment of wrestling. AEW was that alternative that gave the WWE a kickstart, but now Vince McMahon's gone and Triple H took over and WWE has been kickstarted and they are running on all cylinders, and now the once pretty, the once attractive other girl, if you will, the mistress AEW of all the wrestling fans, the WWE wrestling fans, isn't as pretty anymore. Right? The old wife, she lost a few pounds, got a makeover, got her hair did, got a new outfit. She's looking good. She's looking good. Maybe you don't need that mistress anymore. But is all falling apart for AEW? Is AEW failing? Or is it all just a bunch of internet blah, blah, blah? Well, for more on this, and one of the reasons that AEW is getting a lot of negativity from the locker room itself, we're going to listen to this clip here from Mr. Sean Ross Sapp over at Fightful on his show, The Hump. Then after that, we're going to dip into another reason why everybody's upset in the AEW locker room from Meltzer and Alvarez at the Wrestling Observer. Check out these 2 clips and we will catch you on the back end to talk about both.
So, Jimmy, the thumbnail for this show is "The Sky is Not Falling." I mean, this is one of the more exhausting things about social media, whether it be whatever platform, outside of, the psychopaths that we see on there. But it is, first off, just the constant sky is falling, and even the celebration, hypothetically, if that were a thing, whether it be WWE, AEW, TNA, anything, it's
I've never understood it. I mean, I'm critical of the product when they deserve it, just like I'm critical of WWE when they deserve it. But the fact that it's given people a place to work, WWE cannot employ all these people. It's given people a place to work, and not only that. Are you going to tell me that the fact that WWE has improved over the last, say, 18 months creatively is a complete coincidence and has nothing to do with the fact that they have competition?
Of course.
Well, I don't understand this whole, I just don't get it. I don't understand why you'd want a company to die when they're providing for people. There does seem to be this negative perception ongoing with them right now. And there have been reports of them around the locker room. I don't know if it's because Punk returning to WWE contributed. I don't know if it's because of the poorhouses domestically. I don't know if it's because WWE's hot right now and drawing big crowds. I don't know if it's because television ratings for AEW are down year over year. What are you hearing with respect to just a negative perception surrounding AEW and the locker room?
Around the locker room, it's kind of trended that way for a while, but I mean, to say that it's unanimous would not be accurate. It's never going to be unanimous. There's always going to be people that are happy and unhappy with what they do. But the houses have been something that talent, they echo many of the same sentiments online. They're like, why aren't we running smaller buildings? Well, they booked the buildings out way, way far in advance. It's like, well, they ran Greensboro on 3 or 4 months notice. So why can't you adjust with some of that? Well, you got deposits down on buildings. You can't switch that. AEW is happy to run bigger buildings in case they get hot, have the nicer amenities, have television production. AEW is still running at a fraction of which WWE does. WWE is such a well-oiled machine beyond anything.
Yeah.
AEW still going through growing pains and the like, but I have said the same thing for a long time. I would run smaller buildings. I would greatly decrease the ticket price to the point to where people who can't afford to go can now afford to go, and they can take their whole family.
But as you just alluded to, there are glaring issues that need to be fixed. And quite honestly, Sean, this shit has existed for so long. I can't believe they haven't fixed them yet.
So what happened with Kevin Sullivan?
He was let go today. Mike Mansouri made the call. And, you know, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people that were not happy about this today, which is also one of the reasons I think why there's a lot of, you know, again, all day hearing negativity and is because of this one, because he's been there from the start. And there's this feeling that the company is changing, which it always is, and it has to. You know, you're always going to change. But the feeling that it's changed and it's become something that it wasn't. And
well, that's true.
And this is another sign of the idea that they took a guy from WWE and replaced their. You know, I can't even say replaced because they were two different jobs. You know, I mean, like Mike Mansouri is the head of the production at the shows, and Kevin Sullivan was the head of the post production. But you know, the idea that that they brought in a guy from WWE and put him above the guy that they had, you know, who had the ability to get rid of the guy. So that was, you know, for people who had been there from the start. You know, I could see where that, you know, it's another thing of, oh, they're, you know, WWE guys taking the place of people who were here from the start. And, you know, it's funny, the angle with the originals, with the women's angle with the originals and the you know, the people who came from WWE, it's almost like that angle in a weird way is almost like a description of the, you know, some of the things going on in the company itself. As far as like certain feelings and things like that, where you have people who had, you know, been there from the start and now aren't getting a lot of TV time, and other people are. But with that roster that they have, I mean, one of the things with the talent, with the amount of people they have on that roster, they're never going to keep people happy with that many people who are talented, and even with 5 hours a week of television. You're just never going to be able to do it because there's so many people who want TV time and, you know, think that they can contribute and get very frustrated, and then get frustrated at the people who get the TV time. You know, and rightly so, because some of them have delivered in the past and haven't gotten a lot of TV time of late.
I get the bringing in all the ex WWE guys is a problem. And that was a big criticism of WCW at the time when they were around. And that was a big criticism of TNA when TNA started to stink up the joint. It's when they started replacing all of their top homegrown stars with all of the washed up WWE talent. And that is a problem. You can't just outright replace your talent with WWE stars. You have to put them in the mix, and you have to be selectively... You kind of gotta put them in the right spots, so to speak. I don't think it's inherently a problem to have ex-WWE guys on your roster, because look, they're independent contractors. They are able to move around and work different places. You know, you don't want this guy painting your house because he painted your neighbor's house. Well, fuck, you know. But at the same time, you know, it definitely gives the impression that they're more valuable or more important. But in a lot of ways, they are. Think about, you know, I just watched the Cultaholic, I believe, has the YouTube channel. Just did a fantastic video on the golden years of the WWF. And really went into great detail. I mean, we've heard this story a million times, but he did a particularly good job. Shout outs to him. Going into great detail about, you know, each individual acquisition of the territories that Vince McMahon did. And, you know, either the territory itself or just purging its top stars. You know, was Vince was going to be determined to make WWF succeed with his own homegrown talent, and he wasn't going to go in and steal Hulk Hogan from the AWA and the Junkyard Dog from down in Louisiana and so on and so forth. Vince went in and he took all of the top guys, everybody from every territory. He used other people's guys that other people got over. Hulk Hogan was over in the AWA. Nobody had ever really seen him in WWE. Sure, he had a little bit of a heel run previously, but it was a mid-card heel run. I guess he did have his match with Andre. You know, people were aware of who he was, but his star was made in AWA. Junkyard Dog's star was made in another territory, so on and so forth. Piper, Orndorff, everybody that Vince came in and purged from other territories, he didn't create. So now all of a sudden, I mean, you want to build your greatest roster. You want to build a strong number 2 brand. You want your company to be as strong as it can possibly be. Why not use a bunch of household names? And I'm sorry to fucking Kevin Sullivan, who, you know, Mike Mansouri came in and took his spot. Sorry and shit, but Mike Mansouri sat underneath the learning tree of Kevin Dunn, producing WrestleManias and shit. Kevin Sullivan produced, what, the Impact Zone? I think, was he a WCW producer too? But I mean, his crew came from TNA. And everybody seems to like him and everything. And I'm sure, you know, he did a decent job getting all of them off their feet. But he was in charge of post-production. Post-production's not great for AEW. It's not bad. I'm not knocking it. But maybe there could be more done. It seems like they're trying to go a different direction. That's why QT's trying to get out of there. That's why you're hearing about these shakeups, and people are saying it's not the same company that they thought it was before. Yeah. I mean, it's only 5 years old. They're going to grow. They're going to morph. Okay, think about WWF again. When WWF when Vince took over the WWF in the 80s, first of all, that was not the company that, you know, the people like the Brunos and the Bob Backlunds and the whoever else was there for his dad's run is not the same company anymore. Then it's not the same company when it merged to the Attitude Era. And it wasn't the same, you know, it was something Bruno was bitching about on TV. Wrestling isn't changed, you know? And then when WCW got bought out, it's just big. When they went public, it's corporate now. It's not the same wrestling business. Wrestling always evolves. You know, the 80s WWF is not the corporate machine that it is now, owned by TKO Endeavor. It evolves. You cannot expect AEW to be in its like glorified indie days still. Now, as I defend it, I don't think it's a great idea to just make your company WWE light. You have to differentiate yourself. I think that's what Mike Mansouri is trying to do, is be WWE light, to the extent of, if you've noticed, AEW has added the LED boards to the barricade now around the ring and around the camera side ring apron. That's a straight up WWE gimmick, right? They're just taking that and they're like, oh, what else can we do to be exactly like WWE production wise? You got to go in opposite direction to a certain extent. But I don't think it's inherently bad to put that guy in that spot, because I just think he's had more high-level wrestling experience than Kevin Sullivan. Now, does Kevin deserve to keep his job there? You know, people like him? Did he do a decent job? I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't. But I don't think just inherently because Mike Mansouri's a WWE guy that it's a bad thing, you know. But and on the talent end, you got to separate these guys. I think it would not hurt to do the brand split. I had said this from the beginning. Put Edge in the spot you had Punk in. Make Collision Edge's show. You only see Edge on Collision, not Dynamite, not Rampage. Now everybody's on every show. That's how Collision becomes Rampage, because nobody cares anymore. I'll just watch Dynamite. But if Edge is only on Collision and his shit with Christian is only happening on Collision and it's getting some of the best reviews of stuff, you know, I think, you know, some have said it's kind of jumped the shark at this point. But some of the better shit on AEW TV recently, it wouldn't hurt to put that on to separate that, keep that on its own island. MJF's the top storyline on Dynamite. You can kind of separate stuff, and that way you're spreading out these WWE guys too, and you don't need to bring them. You're not even using all of them. You're still not really using Miro properly. Andrade, you should just let go. Just get rid of him. Fuck him. But I think there's a slippery slope, but I think it's unfair to just say across the board, oh, they're bringing in too many WWE guys. It's how they're used. It's where they're being placed, because inevitably, if you're trying to build the number 2 wrestling company, you want it to be filled with all of the top wrestling stars that are not in WWE. You don't sit a Hall of Fame wrestling talent home on the couch just so you don't get the impression that you're scooping up ex WWE people. That's stupid, and you wouldn't do that either if you were running AEW and Edge gives you a call and says, hey, what's up? You got anything for me over there? You're not going to be like, well, I respect you, Adam, but you did just come off of WWE TV, and I don't want to, of course you're going to be like, fuck yeah, let's do some business. But you don't want to be a collector either. You don't want to just sign people for the sake of signing them, and you don't want to Bret Hart them, where you bring in top stars like WCW did with Bret Hart and then just half-ass use them, They got to be very strategic about it. Strategic, And as far as the house show or the live events, the ticket sales, the buildings, ticket sales are the problem, and there's nothing that's making me want to run out to, what is the reason to want to run out and buy a ticket to an AEW show right now? There's nothing on TV that's must see. And you know what? If the tickets were cheap enough, I'd probably still want to go. Like, I would still, okay, I'll go check that out. Tickets are cheap enough where it's, it's something to do for the night. If it's equivalent to going to a movie or something. But the fact is it's not. Especially if you're going to bring, me, I'm going to bring my kids or something. Parking, travel, food while you're there. It's a nightmare. You're easily spending, if I were to bring my kids, it's $150 to $200 night or more just to sit up in the nosebleeds. It's not even like a decent seat or anything. So it's a problem. I think WWE is the much hotter ticket. I would absolutely go to WWE right now. Their promotion too, they suck at promotion. They got a lot of problems. There is a lot of bad going on in AEW right now. They need to get their shit together. I think it's unfair to say that they are just, it's all gloom and doom at this point, though, because WWE has been on several downturns. It's inevitable. Wrestling has hot periods and it has cold periods. Brands have hot and cold periods. Angles, wrestlers, storylines, shows have hot and cold periods. All it's going to take is 1 or 2 good storylines to heat things back up. For all we know, somebody amazing is under the Devil's Mask. It's probably Adam Cole or Britt Baker. But for all we know, somebody amazing is under the Devil's Mask and makes people go, holy shit, I have to see what's going on. Unfortunately, I don't think Tony's a good booker. I think his idea of getting people to go, holy shit, is we signed Adam Copeland. And then, Adam Copeland's on the show. Yay. He's in a good storyline. Don't get me wrong, but you get my point. It's there's a lot of problems there. They need to fix the ship, and I think it starts with Tony taking a big long vacation. And I don't think, I think maybe it's time they do go different directions. And sometimes you just got to pick a direction and go with that. If things don't seem to be growing or seem to be getting stale, well, you had Kevin Sullivan since day one. Maybe it is time to switch it up, and especially if there's new ideas, new discussions, new things being said. Because like I said, that Kevin Sullivan guy was not bad at his job, and apparently he was well-liked. So if the call was made to remove him, it was most likely due to a difference of direction, which I think is the exact thing that was cited. But that seems to be a problem for a lot of people that work in AEW. Also, I think wrestlers are just inherently bitchy. Everybody is in general, especially with social. Everybody's got a voice. But wrestlers are particularly bitchy. They're particularly opinionated. They're particularly whiny. They're particularly big babies. And I don't say this to get heat with any workers or anything, but you know that you are. You know you like to complain. You know you like to bitch. You know you're always hot about something, right? So it is what it is. It's the nature of the business, too. And I think, I'm not being you. Not everybody can be in the main event storyline. We just heard that, Jay White was possibly upset with his main event fucking title run story. Okay, go sit in the back then. I'll give you something to be upset about, your creative, if you're going to be, you were just in the main event title run. I'm sorry it wasn't perfect. I'm sorry it didn't live up to your expectations. Fuck off. You're new to the company and you just got put into a main event title spot. Shut the fuck up. Not everybody can have those spots, but then there's also the people just sitting home at the couch doing nothing, being used sporadically, being forgotten about for a couple weeks, then being brought back like nothing ever happened. It's a mess. So they got a lot of shit to work out there, but I do not think that they're dying. And look, I don't think you should hope that they die either. It's okay to have a favorite team. It's okay to try to dunk on AEW when you want and that kind of thing, but to wish death on AEW, WWE is not going to be able to just sign the entire AEW roster, or even half, or even a quarter, and give them all jobs. It's not going to work. And even if they could, and even if they were, they'd make room on their roster by clearing out some of the shitty ones for some of AEW's good ones. So people would still be out on the street. Production crews would be out on the street. Tour people, backstage people, hair people, makeup people, wardrobe people, lighting, camera people, sound techs. A lot of people out of jobs backstage. A lot of people, a lot of wrestlers out of jobs. Not only that, but then what is WWE? Everybody loves WWE because they're hot right now. And to the point made at the beginning in the clip from the Sean Ross Sapp clip, that's what makes business hot. Competition. WWE has no reason. We saw it under Vince. When they're the only game in town, they have no reason to fight for your attention. They already got it. Who cares? What else are you going to do? Find a billionaire and start another company a third time? Ha! Good luck. Wait another 20, 30 years. You can't wish death upon AEW because you're wishing death on you're wishing unemployment to a lot of talent, and you're wishing death on the wrestling industry in a lot of ways, because some people weren't even really some people weren't around or fans or just too young to even realize back in that mid 2000s stretch, wrestling was damn near unbearable. And that's because they didn't have to be anything else. You get what Vince feeds you. That's it. Nobody can tell Vince different because there's no pressure on him to do different. You want to go to a wrestling show, you're going to go to that wrestling show. You're going to watch a wrestling show, you're going to watch that wrestling show. You want to be signed to a big television contract wrestling TV deal, you need to go to the WWE. So another game in town is important. So pick your sides, have your fun. But never, ever, ever just wish for the company to fail, because at that point, you're not even a true wrestling fan. You're not. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Is AEW dying? Are they on their deathbed? Is it just a down period? Are they just one or two good angles away from an uptick? What's the situation? What would you like to see them do to change? What's the reason you don't go to their house shows or their live, not their house shows, but any live event from AEW? What's preventing you from buying a ticket or watching the show? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's keep this conversation going, as I do believe it is going to be ongoing over the weeks and months in 2024. Peace, love, and pizza. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next. Oh, yeah. Thanks for checking out the video. Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like it if you liked it. Yeah. And you can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on the channel. Ooh, yeah. Dig it.